Hey guys, in today's video we're going down to my favorite building spot and taking a tour of my forever base in Sons of the Forest. Over the course of my 800 hours in game, I've tried plenty of other spots for plenty of hours, but they just didn't get me as hyped to keep building. They didn't have as many resources, and most importantly, they didn't give me that sense of security I was looking for when I just wanted to slow down and enjoy the atmospheres. By the way, don't build your base next to a cave. I learned that the hard way. Sons of the Forest is one of my favorite games, and I get the most enjoyment out of playing it on hard survival. Even though it's a bit more challenging and time consuming than other difficulties, it makes the building process feel that much more meaningful and fulfilling. But hey, that's just me, and it's just a game, so you should play it the way you get the most enjoyment out of it. So the location of the base is one of my favorite spots to build. It's this hidden valley tucked away on the most southwest portion of the map, here, near the airfield in one of the maintenance bunkers. Aside from the lush mountain ridges and majestic waterfalls you find yourself in, there's actually a lot of technical benefits to this spot. Here's a few nifty points showing how goated this spot is. But if you're feeling like Kelvin here after my intro, and you just want the base tour already, feel free to use a chapter selection to skip ahead. First, it's got great natural defenses. The valley walls and stream running through it make it easier to defend, especially when you're getting started. Enemies can only really attack you from the front, left, and right sides, and they don't really jump down the back waterfall, even if you don't build defensive walls. And you can jump up the rocks in the back, or take this cliffside path in case your base gets overrun and you have to dip. Next, it's got an abundance of natural resources. It's got loads of stone and rocks along the streams and waterfalls, while having thick forest ridges providing wood and sticks galore. And all the animals shown here, along with a number of berry bushes and flowing water, keep you easily fed and hydrated, even throughout the wintertime. And I'm cueing the rest of the Nat Geo montage here. Lastly, from what I've seen, it's probably got the highest density of key locations for additional resources. Let's take a closer look. The Coffin Camp and Waterfall provide a great supply of rope, while the small tents below have other odds and ends. The lakeside cave entrance leads to the largest underground system in the game, along with being an important cave to progress the story. The camp here hides one of the maintenance bunkers. It's important because it contains a convenient 3D printer and the compound bow. Down the hill from the bunker is the airfield. It's got a crashed plane and plenty of suitcases and totes littered about. This first set of tents contains ammo and a good amount of odds and ends. It also has a glider down near the cliffside. The mine contains a good amount of rope, canned food, bones, and a sulfite vein. The dig site contains rope, cloth, and some duct tape. The cliffside camp and tents provide a good variety of items and ammo, along with more items down the small cave below. And this location also has a glider near the cliffside. So, now for the tour. My forever base is a culmination of hundreds of hours of ideas after hundreds of hours of even learning the game. So, even though I think it's the most polished base I've ever built, I don't think I'll ever be able to call it complete. For the main features of the base, let's start at the front. I have layers of traps and walls on either side of the river for that sense of security I was looking for on the island. And for some reason, enemies seem to attack from this side more than the other. This side is more low-key, but it still does the job. Directly behind the outer walls is an open deck and defensive tower I use to defend from attacks, along with a forward operating hut. This forward hut is where I can harvest the bone of my fallen enemies and keep some of my other hunting resources. The side gate here is for added defense, and the back side is an airlock for even more security. Past the inner wall, you're greeted by a functioning clock tower. And besides that, on the upper deck, I have a teleporter. Below the teleporter, I've built a posh little patio where I grow berries and cook sometimes. Then, further down the way, I have a little rabbit sanctuary with over 30 rabbits. Behind the rabbits is a scenic canal with a walkway to the back side of my base. On the other side, another walkway connects the patio to other buildings and features of my base. Above this nice awning is a terrace where I dry food, grow more berries, and where I keep most of my solar panels. And in the very back of my base, I set up an archery range to practice my long shots. Also in the back stream, I have a fishing hut, just in case I need other sources of food. It does freeze over in the winter though. And beneath all the terraces are the rooms. So let's start with the hunting lodge. The hunting lodge was the first building I made when I started this base, and I decorated with plenty of hunting trophies and a lot of enemy skulls. Connecting the lodge to the bedroom is the primary storage area. I try to keep this one pretty organized. And this is the bedroom with all my extra armor sets and other decor. I can't sleep down here though. More on that one in a bit. Behind the bedroom is the second storage area for all my overflow items I find during my outings in the forest. And now for the cliffside and satellite locations of my base. Here's the cliffside cabin. And due to the way that the enemies spawn in this game, I sleep up here so I won't get woken up at night. It does have a nice view of the rest of the base though. On the other cliff, it has my main log holder. This is where most of the logs from my depots go before I use them in my base. And this was my first log depot I don't use anymore. It was simple, but it was effective. Here's another logging depot I don't use anymore, but I made a pondside cabin here after. Further out is my current logging depot, and I made this one pretty nice. I put an electrified fence on this cabin, and I decorated a little bit more. So that's it for the main tour, but here are a few bonus shots from some of my previous valley bases. This base was actually my first valley base, and it was the one I used when I started the game. So this one's only on normal. It was the first game save I used to beat the game with though. This second iteration was a hard survival base, but for some reason I didn't like it enough to make it my forever base, so I made a third one. Anyways, thanks for checking out the video and making it to the end here. Feel free to drop any comments or questions down below. Enjoy the rest of the Valley's ambiance, and I'll see you guys in the next one.